Yeah, it was great to get a single game weekend. Allow us an opportunity to train and really work on some things that we learned through the non-conference schedule that was working for us, but then make adjustments on some things that weren't working for us. So, I mean, what a game to start with Texas State, who had been on I think now a 5-game unbeaten streak. They tied Oklahoma State. They tied Baylor, both away from home. So that's a really, really talented Texas State team. I think they're going to be one of the top teams in the conference this year. Their offense is potent. They can score from a lot of places. So it really challenged us. And I think that being able to face a team like that earlier on in the conference schedule really sets us up to see where we're going to be. So definitely some things we need to work up on. I think the first half we come out with a good tempo and good energy. We utilised our spare players where they were on the field, and we created some good opportunities. I think we created some chances out wide earlier on in the game that led to some corners and ultimately led to the goal. But second half came, and I think the game plan changed. They changed a couple of things in their system. Started to overload different areas in the field, and it made us adjust. We weren't quite ready to handle that there. So we made some changes on the fly, and I think the group adapted very well to what we asked them, something that we hadn't prepared for, something that we hadn't thought that it was going to come at us. We had executed our plan really well, and the second half was a change. It was a game of two halves, and they were definitely the better team in the second half. We created some opportunities, but not near enough to go ahead and capitalize and win the game. So I think to walk away with a point after the event of the whole 90 minutes, hopefully it's a point we can look back on at the end of the year and say it was a good point, and hopefully it's not 2 points missed. But definitely a lot to look from in the first half and keep moving forward with. But second half, we've got to make some changes and figure out how we can build some better momentum to create opportunities later on in the game.
You said it was a tale of two halves, and anybody who watched it, it really was. It was two completely different games. You had them on the ropes. You were out shooting them shots on goal shots by a large margin, and then they seemed like they adjusted and they had you guys on the rope. Kind of talk about what was that like, that battle of adjustments from half to half, because both teams had to make them.
Yeah, so I think that they made their first change in the first half to combat us, and what that led to was it led us to stop creating the opportunities that we had. The biggest thing that we wanted from Texas State was to stop the offensive transition on their part. So we wanted to make sure that we null and voided that. They changed their shape and threw different players in different areas. So then we had to adjust because we were numbers down in a certain area. So when we adjusted to that, especially after you're up 1-0, that caused us to be on the back foot a little bit. And, you know, it's a give and take, and maybe we took too much and tried to take away their threats rather than capitalize on ours, but that's on me. I can get to reflect on that and figure out, is that a game that we should have kept the foot on the gas and went for it, or was it the right call, you know? And we'll only know that in time, and we're still making adjustments as we go. We are halfway through the season, but conference is different, and it was a really good chess match, really good tactical game. We kind of said that last week. It could have been a 5-4 or it could have been a 1-0 game, and both goals were scored on set pieces, and I think, you know, it was a really exciting game to be a part of, at least from a coaching standpoint.
What did you take away from Sunday's game? You know, first conference game of the year. What did you take away from your team necessarily that's going to lead into this 2-game week of, again, Sun Belt Conference game?
I think, again, it was similar to the Rice game. We were able to implement a game plan, and I felt the game plan that we implemented was really good. We scored an opportunity that we thought we could create in the game. We saw it, we capitalized on it, which was really good. One of the things about Texas State is offensively they are potent. They score a lot of goals. We've played them 3 times in the last 2 years because we played them in the tournament, and they scored 7 goals against us. So for us to walk away and concede 1 and it be on a set piece, I mean, we've got to take some gratification from that we weren't giving up as many chances as we have in the past. We were challenging them to take difficult chances and create opportunities from outside the box rather than having some inside the box. So some things to work on there. Can we create some more interceptions? Can we have some more turnovers so we can have some more offensive transition rather than us just creating attacks? But they do a great job of finishing the attack as well. They always make sure they get a cross off or a shot off rather than having a turnover. So again, those are some things that we're working on this week.
Kind of talk about the physicality of the game, because not only was it brutally hot yesterday for your players, but it was a very physical game, a lot of bumping back and forth between both teams. Kind of talk about how you think your team handled that game in that moment.
I think we handled it really well. I think it's just high-level soccer. You got to win your offensive duels, and you got to be able to put your body on the line and protect the ball and keep a hold of it and connect it and move it. And 50-50s are going to be there, and I think both teams went in for them, and there were some tough challenges on both sides of the ball, and I don't think anything was coming from malicious intent, but it was just a good old physical Division I soccer game, and It was tactical, it was physical, it was technical, and it was transitional. Everything that you expect it to be. So I felt the group responded really well to what the game demanded yesterday.
Talk about your opponents for this week. What have you seen at App State? What have you seen at ULM? And how are you looking to game plan for both these teams?
So two completely different game plans. I think both of them are extremely good. App State have a young freshman right now who I think leading the conference in points. She has 4 goals, 4 assists. She's very good. We saw her in the recruiting trail and she's performed really well this year. They're obviously returning one of the best forwards in the conference, Izzy Wood. So offensively, another potent offense that's going to be really, really good. So we'll have to game plan pretty well to make sure that we try and take away as many opportunities as they're trying to create and make sure that we can see our strengths and try and pick on their weaknesses a little bit. ULM are just a solid team. They've got some special players. Their girl in the midfield, I think, leads the nation in shots on goal percentage. She scored a great goal for the game winner against Troy. So everywhere that they have someone on the field, it's a great soccer team. They're very well coached, very organized. Coach Will does a good job of scheming and game planning. He's another coach that will probably go through a couple of different formations if things aren't going his way. So I think these first 3 games that we have are extremely challenging from a variety of standpoints. Technically, we're playing some really good teams. Athletically, we're playing some really good teams. But tactically, each team's going to throw something different at us. So it's going to give us a good preparation again for conference. And I think that's one of the good things about this is good teams keep on getting better. And I feel as if through each game of the non-conference schedule and at least the start of conference right now, we've responded to each game really well, and it's given us a chance to get better.
We've talked about how right now you have 14 players with a goal on your team, and it's kind of unusual at that point in time for most teams. But Lucy Ortiz is starting to make a headway. She scored another goal yesterday. Can we see her kind of amp up and maybe take control and be that scoring factor?
She may do. She's definitely got the ability to do it. But I think that you need your captain to step up in big moments, and that's what she did for us yesterday. So I think what Lucy brings to the table more than just the goals that she scores is that she's the type of player that when we need to do something, we can give the ball to her and she's going to help us create something. And that's what it was yesterday, where we're getting a lot of chances and we needed her. And Lucy will be the first one to say it. You know, she's not going to go and win 10 headers a game in the air, but she reads the game. She challenges balls and she reads where it's going to be, and that's what happened on the goal. So whether she steps up and puts it in the back of the net, whether she assists a teammate, or whether she creates something, Lucy's going to do what Lucy does, and that's create good opportunities for us.
So throughout the season, home and away, it's night and day. 0-2 compared to 1-1-2. What's the difference between y'all being here at Home Bank Track and Soccer Complex in front of Cajun Nation in comparison to hitting the road like y'all will on Sunday? And where's the miscommunication coming?
I wouldn't say there's any miscommunication right now. I would say it's a learning process from a lot of things. We've got 11 freshmen on the team. A lot of those freshmen are playing a lot of minutes right now. When you go on the road and we've played LSU, Lamar, Rice, and McNeese, right? So McNeese was a win. Those other 3, they're not slouches. Like Rice are a very good team. Lamar's won the Sunbelt, the Southland Conference for the last 3 years, and LSU are doing really well. So I think that it challenges us in a different way. We have to make sure our preparation's right. We have to make sure that we're traveling well and we're hydrating well for the games that are on the road, because when you're sleeping in the hotel and you're traveling, you're playing at someone else's field, it's their momentum, it's their home field, it's their advantage. So I think it's more of a challenge than where it's not going wrong, and we'll figure it out. I don't think any of our performances on the road have been terrible. I think they've been good games. We took the lead against LSU. We responded against Lamar and come back, and we took the lead against Rice twice. So I think it's us just finishing the game off and being able to calculate how to win games, and that's just part of it. Every game in college soccer is like a playoff game. You're not playing for a point, you're playing to win. So if you're down a goal, people are going to throw everything at you for the last 10 minutes.
Last year, we talked about you felt like sometimes your team was taking the result of the game before, kind of carrying that over into what was going on in the next game, and then maybe sometimes helped or either hindered them. This conference is loaded. You're playing 3 great teams to start off conference right off the bat. How do you kind of keep your team focused and say, look, when this game's over, we need to cancel it out and it's on to the next great opponent that's coming up?
I think the group that we have right now, especially the seniors, have been around that conversation for long enough now that they're able to kind of restart and refocus for each game. They know every team's going to be a little different systems, different strengths, different weaknesses, and they're responding to that in practice to understand the challenge. They enjoy the moment when we have a victory, but they're able to come to practice the next day and reset and be focused on the next game. So really proud of their focus and where they're at mentally right now, and I think that's going to lead us for a good season.